time, just to have that be something that works. Hey. I was just talking to the podcast and I'm talking to you right now. So, hey, what's going on, everybody? Again, this is your boy Samin. I'm the host of the Sam Maya Show. I appreciate you hanging out with me. This is late. This is it's kind of late on the Sunday night. Um, yeah, it is late. It's nothing. It's nothing witty to say about that. But it's late on a Sunday night. I went to the studio again today. I have to send off this package tomorrow, so I had to go in and dig in. So I'm digging in these crates. With that's like DJs do, digging in crates, but I'm actually digging in these bins, going through all this research and old drawings and diaries and just a whole life, a whole life of a person. It's something about seeing that captured, right, and going through some of it because I'm actually kind of an assignment, but not really an assignment because it's left up to me. So you're asking me to pick some things that are important for you, for them, right? And it's kind of strange because I don't know what's important to you. And when you're dealing with the loss of someone that you love, everything becomes important, which was something that something that I noticed when it came down time for me to move from one studio, her stuff from the studio, stuff that I know she would have thrown out becomes important. You see a piece of tissue, it's like, oh, she held this tissue, like stuff like that. And it's, eventually you get rid of the tissue. Hopefully you get rid of the tissue. I got rid of the tissue, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't get rid of, and they need me to go through it. So I was there today, and it is no matter how much I want it to not be, no matter how much I want to come across as like, oh, I got it, I got it. When I leave, when I'm there, but when I'm working, I'm going through it. It's like, oh my goodness, look at these pictures, look at these photos, look at this. Let me read this pages, and some of the stuff is really great. It's her planning her life. Like even while I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my god, this is like a movie. Like how I could change my life from reading her journal. Like her struck. Like she has it. It's ridiculous. It's structured, and it's like this is a blueprint for a way of living. This is a blueprint, and it's there. It's the idea of it, then it's the implementation, and then it's the achievement, and then it's the and it's actually there and it's captured. So that's something to see written words like that and sketches and drawings to go along with it. So that's that's partly why I'm so late today because I had to do that. Then I had to take care of home stuff. But the title of like I don't want to get it wrong, right? So I was thinking. So that was that. That's what happened. That's why my time is there. But I was reading something today. I'm a fan of this woman. Her name is Brene Brown, and she's like a shame specialist and vulnerability, which are two things that I'm fascinated with. I am so fascinated with the idea of vulnerability, like being vulnerable and what that means, and shame. So when the first time I thought about doing something like this, the idea was for men. It was for men to have a conversation, right? To participate in a conversation amongst ourselves, black men, men of color, to connect with ourselves and really alter that because that doesn't happen for me as much as I would like it to. And then look at how we can actually now, with that in place, take care of like altering the conversation with the world, right? About who we are and how we are. Of course, that's like changing the conversation that is not just a conversation that's said about us, right? Because there's some things that's said about a black man. Some of it is flattering, some of it's lies, some of it's true. But there's some things that are true that aren't flattering that we can work on. Now, I have many examples of dads. So that whole thing with dads, I just got something. Let me check this. Okay. So you got this thing with dads. I have dads around me. I'm still leery about my sound. Yesterday I did it and it wasn't even live. It did it yesterday. I put this up and it wasn't even going to Facebook. It just was going to YouTube. And somebody called me in the middle of it, and I was like, "What?" And they were texting me, "No, you're not live." And I didn't see that until it was over. So part me checking that. But the conversation about men being fathers, I've seen that story. Black men, not men being fathers, but like black men taking care of their kids. I don't want to get into the daddy or father because there's many different ways that comes out, right? Like there's sperm donors, right? They'll call them that, but you did that, but you didn't follow through with the the, the gathering, right? You soil, you did the soil thing, but you didn't benefit from what was growing. You didn't take that on. You didn't take that on. I'm checking again because I'm leery. I'm nervous. Okay, so it's nothing. It's not. We good. Put my thumbs up. We good. So that's a conversation that's there though. But there's some lack of parenting, and there's some lack of taking care of women the way with the intention, right? With the intention, and a lot of it's based on what's important to my community. Like having sex is a big thing. And I was like, oh yo, but I'm speaking back a little bit because I'm at that age where it's like, dog, if that's what's important to you, you need to just kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like you 50, that's what you're concerned about. That's you're doing the wrong thing. But just as a general, that's still cool. That's still cool to be able to say you have done this many times with this many people. And that's not what's important. So, and what is important, I don't know. I have things that are important to me. The next person might have something important to them that's totally over my head. That we can actually have that conversation, and it could be a blind spot for me, right? Like I'm clear. I have many blind spots, and blind spot. Like if you drive, you got a blind spot. If I'm behind you and I'm driving behind you, I can see what you don't see clearly. I can clearly see it, and you're gonna make that right to exit, but you don't even see that car just out of view. That's your blind spot. I can hit the horn, and I've done that. I've hit the horn. Hey, watch out for that car. So that's something that I wanted to cultivate a conversation with. When I attempt to do that, if I mention shame or vulnerability, there's some other things too. It's not confrontational, but it's a lack of wanting to be involved in a conversation like that. It's like, what are we talking about this for? And what I get is, I've grown up for myself. I'll keep it on me. I grew up in a space of having to be tough, right? Now I wasn't that kid. There's some people that was really tough. So I didn't have to be that, but suck it up. Stop sounding like a little this. You could fill in the blank. Yo, you sound like a real this. For real, like man up, suck it up. This that type of stuff from being a little kid. And it's a certain amount of roughness which becomes a sort of a resignation to be able to tap into something being sad or my feelings being hurt, right? Like I can't even talk about that, and realizing that shame, and that I haven't come across anybody who was comfortable with me saying, like, when I say, yo, I felt shame, I was ashamed of that. I was ashamed of my behavior just now. That was something I really felt shameful for. Come on, son, it's not really that serious. It's not really, but it is though. And then I have to convince the person that it is, and nobody's trying to hear it. But that's a human feeling. That's a human thought, right? Shame is a real thing. My behavior was shameful. Not I'm shameful, right? Not I'm shameful. That which is really where shame goes. Like I'm shameful. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And I will talk about that thing. And that type of thinking has led me to being not enough. Me not being enough has led me to do things. And this is where the title comes in. This is where me talking about passing my baggage on to my daughter. In my space of not being enough, thinking I'm not enough, behaving the opposite. So if I'm internally thinking I'm not enough, then me going out of my way to prove that I am enough. And I am this. Look at this. Look at what I'm wearing. Not now, right? Right. But look at it. Look at my clothes. Look at my shoe. Look at this bag. Look at my car. Look at my aren't I enough? And that's the game I spent a lot of time playing, especially after this thing when my wife passed away and this lawsuit came in. It was just like, oh, it was that type of stuff. And I had to really catch myself because I was really, first of all, I was heartbroken and I was grieving. That was one. And then I was like, oh, wait, feeling myself out, not feeling myself like, look at me, I'm that dude, but it was like feeling myself like, okay, so what does this mean? What does this thing mean? How do I behave with this? How do I do that? How not somebody just checked me on that. They were like, stop saying they didn't say stop saying this and that, but they said was when you say this and when you say that, I don't understand what that means. And that's what I know from just being in the world. I know that that's passive speaking. So I won't do that again. I won't. I'm working on that. But can I say these sentences to you? Can I pay for that? What is it like to pay for this thing? And what's the reaction? What are the results? What do I get back for this? What do you think of me now? So what's on your mind when I behave in a certain way? So that was all like in a certain way. Like what's the turnout? Like what is the reaction for me behaving like this? Because I've never had the experience of behaving like this before. Because I've never had this item, this and this money. We're talking about I didn't have this before, so now I have it. And look at this. What do I do? Is this? Should I get a new car? Do you think better of me? Do you think I'm cool now? And it's like that fat boy stuff. Now I'm being light about it, and I'm like, do you like me? That's not something I would normally say or think, but it's in there because there was a time that people didn't like me. Right? I've been on welfare. People loved me and people didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the different side of the same coin. I've been loved, always been a good person. Even when I was at my worst, I'd like to think, I'd like to think I was a good person. And when I come across people that are like, no, when I'll say something like this, like, no, you were always this. Except I couldn't invite you to my house because, you had sticky fingers or whatever it would be. But I got baggage. I got baggage from the past that I brought along with me and behavior. So when I look at my daughter and I'm working on raising her, I have the tendency to not want her to go through some of the things I went through as a kid. And I've shared before. My cousin, I have this one cousin who we talk occasionally. He has gotten comfortable with the idea that everything that happened is fine, and it made us stronger. And I agree, right? Because you can't change the past. You can't change the past, but you cannot repeat it in the future. You can avoid repeating it in the future. So I don't know that I would want to change anything about what I experienced, right? That's facts. There was nothing too crazy that happened in my past that has me like twitching. It's just like that wasn't great. That's not great. But in that I compensate with my daughter. I compensate with her, and I also have to be connected to what she's going through. First of all, she's a girl, right? She's my little girl. She lost her birth mother and father before she met me and my late wife, right? So that's there though. That's something that's there. Then she loses her adopted mother. So she has three major losses before she can even, I'm gonna say count, but I think she was counting. I would think she was counting by the time, Denise passed. But there's that. And so there's the guilt that I have, right? There's a guilt that I have in dealing with her at times. And I want her to not be that kid that suffers. Like I want her to be the kid that has whatever she wants. I spoil her. I've been intentional about spoiling her, but not spoiling her rotten. But why can't she have the thing if we have the money for it, right? Why can't? And I have no training around this. I know that I couldn't get the thing. I knew that I wasn't getting the thing when we both, my mother and I, saw the commercial. It would be like, oh, wow, look at that. You're not getting that. It's November, maybe for, no, you're definitely not getting that. I don't have the money to get you that. Don't ask for that again. I didn't even ask you for it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. In your private time, don't even think about it. So I knew that things weren't going to happen, and I knew why. And that's baggage for me. That kid that didn't get that, the kid who didn't get the toy, who didn't get the Incredible Hulk. I do say that in this a lot. Yeah. So I'm working. You see that? I caught it. Like caught it. Because I'm visualizing it and I'm like that. So yeah, I remember that Incredible Hulk in a cage and you pump it up. Are you old enough to remember that toy? You pump it up and he breaks out of the cage. You're not getting that. You're not going to get that toy, Sammy. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get those shoes. You're not going to get that. And of course, you're not going to get the jacket. I do say that a lot. Be more descriptive. You're not going to get any of those toys that you want. But I will get you these toys, and I will, work to get you some of these toys that you want. And then after a while, I'll stop asking. I stopped asking for stuff because I knew I wasn't going to get it. And then when I did, and when I would get things, it was always like a surprise, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And that wasn't too often. So now here I am as a dad dealing with all my stuff, like, it's some shame. There's some shame and thinking about what life was for me. And I know there's some guilt that I have for her being in her situation that might not even be warranted, but it's mine. It's mine. And unless I don't want to stop anybody from being able to say, well, something I can get you some coaching around that. And at the same time, right, there may not be any coaching around that is based on somebody else's thoughts, right? I'm a dad raising a girl, and I've heard, oh, it's not important that it is important that she's adopted. She lost two people before we even met. That she knows that, and she grows into that, and that's going to create whatever conversation that is. That she's going to create whatever conversation her brain cultivates and becomes a reality for her. I know people who have both parents, and they have like the mother and the father and the beautiful picket fence and all the good things, and they still in all the things that wealth and would represent, and all the items that you see me struggling with saying that. Mark, I'm calling you out right now. Mark was the one who hit me, but thank you, because I'm realizing this more and more. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it. I'm just in the space of figuring that out. Again, figuring out how to speak and be more descriptive and honest and vulnerable, right? Because that is the reason that I would not be wanting to. You hear that? I don't know. I don't know what's happening right now. But yeah, I sit with my child and I look at her and I go, well, no, you can't have that. And she's like, why? Why? I don't really have a reason. She's a fantastic kid. So then I say, you can have it, but where are you going to put it? We don't have any space. Well, maybe I'll get rid of these things. So what is the deal with spoiling? What is the deal? What's the conversation about not giving a child who wants things, who wants items, who wants toys, and not giving it to them. And while that's happening, I'm clear that what's going on is what I'm really wrestling with is my own baggage, my own past, my own. You're not getting nothing. Don't ask for nothing. Don't look at nothing. Don't even think about it. Don't dream about it. You will never getting anything. Never. But when I have a kid, I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to be mean like that. So I'm definitely in that space, and I'm still trying to figure out a healthy medium around giving kids a good child who wants to have toys. It's just too much toys. But that's the story, too much toys. And knowing that I have a certain amount of guilt around her situation. Like, and she doesn't play into it. She really doesn't play into it. Not like I would be. I'd be like, okay, guess I can't get nothing. Can't get a mother. Can't get, you know what I'm saying? I would be like, oh, and cut. She's not that kid. She's just like, well, can I have? And I'll say, no, babe, you can't. And I feel like I'm just doing something because I may have read it in a book on parenting. Like, don't give your kid or everything they want. Let them know that they could. Why? Why? Why is that? Why is that? What is the risk? Maybe this is an opportunity for somebody to give me some coaching around that conversation that I'm having. What is the risk? What is the risk? And what is the reward? You know, it's a risk reward. But anyway, that's the space I've been thinking about from reading this book today, and it was talking about shame and guilt, and it talked about a lot of the shame leading to addiction, right? Leading to addiction, and also shame about like my life, not my life personally, but in the writings about past life and things that I'm shameful, I'm not good enough. And that stood out to me, like, really, wow, that's a conversation I would want to have with men more, because I really swear I just believe women just women had a plan, women work on things, women support one another, women will call each other out, women love each other. And maybe that's my fantasy. I'm not sure. But when it comes to men, at least in my circle, it's very much, it's all good. Don't even sweat that. Come on, man. Don't even, come on with all that. What's the big deal? Really? Is that serious? I can't believe that every man in my circle feels exactly the same way. Like there's no give. This is very rigid, and this is what it is, and definite. And I get that that's a created world. That's a created world. You know, I look at my partner sometimes, and she wants me to be that rigid. I got it. Don't worry about it. Like the commando, I can handle everything. And I'm not. I handle everything, but at the end of the day, I'll sit back and say, I just need to go lay down right now because I need a minute. I'm not feeling great about what I said to somebody, and I tried to call them back and clean it up, and I couldn't. And she didn't want to hear that. She didn't want to hear that vulnerability. She didn't want to hear. Sometimes, but she didn't want to hear that. Get out of here with all that. Get out of here with all that, son. And I could see it in her eyes. It's like, what? I'm sad about that. What are you sad? What are you talking about sad? It's like where's the space? Where's the space of being for the vulnerability? So the baggage is to be the man and suck it up, but it's not always the easiest. It's a little bit of this is a gumbo right now. I get the feeling that you got a gumbo because I got a bunch of things I want to talk about, and I also got to work out. That's what really was happening. So I'm going to end this right now. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me on this late Sunday night. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you have no idea it's Sunday night because I don't put the days of the week, but I'm letting you know this is Sunday night, and this is December 6th. We are a few days away from 2021. I have not watched the news in a few days. I do not know what old boy is up to. I am sure there's something. I did kind of hear something about pardons. Is he going to pardon himself? I don't know. That would be so fantastic to see this happen. It will really be fantastic just to see. I mean, because if you're going to do it, right? If you're going to do it, you might as well do it. If you're going to stay out past curfew, you might as well spend a weekend, go to Mexico. You're going to get in trouble anyway. You might as well don't come back half an hour late. Go all out. I'm sure he's going to go all out, taking every bit of his liberties. He's going to take every liberty he can, and this too shall pass. And next year we'll be talking about something else. So anyway, take great care of yourself. Love your daughters. Yeah, love your daughters. The daughters are dope. Daughters are dope. I'm getting off this jack right now. Did you hear that? I just banged my knee on my little table. All right, listen. Love your daughters. Take great care. Now my computer's over here. I got a twist. This is a weird twist right here. Love your daughters. Peace.